friends, welcome back to my channel where we talk about all things floral. Today we are making an elevated classic design. This is an 8-inch clear glass bubble bowl, and I have filled it with some organic potpourri mix. And that was just a large container that I picked up at Walmart. You can get them for next to nothing, and I just kind of save them. I pick them up when they're on sale and I save them, and I filled the bowl with that. This is a loamy dish that I'm going to set right on top of the base, and I'm going to put some fresh floral foam in it and build our design on top of that. And then I'm just going to hot glue the plate to the rim of the glass bowl. So right now I'm going to set the bowl aside so it stays nice and clean. We don't want to get any debris or anything in the bowl. And I'm just going to start building the design on top of our loamy dish. So this is pre-soaked Oasis floral foam. And of course we always tape our foam down. This is clear floral tape. And I wanted to use clear because it really disappears in the arrangement as opposed to the green frog tape. And it holds fairly well. It's not quite as strong as the green, but it's strong enough. And I'm taping down the edges here. Instead of going all the way around the bowl, I'm just taping the tape edges because, again, I want everything to the tape to disappear as much as possible. Since it is an elevated design, people will be looking up kind of underneath of it, so I want the mechanics to be as invisible as possible. And we're going to begin by greening out our floral foam. I like to use hydrangea as base. A lot of times they're nice and large, they give a nice texture, and they cover a lot of space. So I'm going to start, I'm dipping the hydrangea into a hydrating solution called Quick Dip. Just helps it take up water more easily. I've removed all the leaves off my hydrangea, so I just get the bloom. And the water will go straight to the bloom and keep it well hydrated. And I'm just starting with placing 2 of the hydrangea into the foam. And that'll give me some really nice coverage in the center. And we're going to continue by adding some greenery. That's pittosporum and some leatherleaf fern. And I'm going to go around the entire arrangement now and cover mechanics and cover as much of that foam as I can. So you can see I'm taking the leather leaf and I'm tearing apart the smaller fronds off of the main stem. Leather leaf it's a pretty big stem, and you want to always be thinking about scale, size, proportion when you are working with your arrangement. You want things to be the appropriate size for balance. And so, if I were to put one huge stem of leather leaf in there, it would look ridiculous. So you would immediately, without knowing anything at all, you would look at that walking into a room and go, ugh, well, that's off. And even if you didn't know why it was off, you could tell that it would look off. So it's really important to keep some of these elements in mind when you're designing. You always want to be looking at the scale and proportion. I know the greenery is doing a functional role in covering our foam and our mechanics, but it also is a pretty foliage, and it has to look pretty and appropriate in the arrangement. So just kind of keep that sort of thing in mind. I am cutting apart pieces and using them, and here it's the same thing with the pittosporum. I'm cutting it off the main stem, and I'm using the smaller little cloves or bunches of the pieces to cover. Okay, so we've got the foam sufficiently covered, and now we're going to move on to our line. Now I'm using Bells of Ireland for a tall linear element in the arrangement. I want this to be a very, elegant, tall, like striking arrangement when people walk in. I want their eye to go right to it. So this is very dramatic, and Bells of Ireland gives me that tall, dramatic element that I'm looking for. I'm going to add, I've added 1, 2, I'm going to add 3 pieces here in this arrangement. So I'm just placing the second one. And Bells of Ireland, you can see they're really funny shaped. You can straighten them out by putting them in a tall bucket and letting them just kind of grow up towards a light source. I've done that before, and they will straighten out nicely. But these were over in a corner. I'm placing the third piece there. I used 3 in this arrangement. I like to stay in 3s with tall linear pieces. It just seems like that's a nice balanced number for me. But these I had in a corner of my studio where the light was kind of far away, so they get a little squirrely reaching for the light, and I'm using that to my advantage in this arrangement because I like the movement of the pieces. So hopefully you can see when I show it later, you'll be able to see how they kind of all move in different directions, but yet they still move together. And now here I'm placing some white lily. I always try to remove the pollen out of the open flowers as much as I can. The pollen just is messy and it drops everywhere, and it can stain people's linens and whatnot. So I always try to remove them out of every bloom that I can. Now this will be a bit taller, so I'm leaving it a bit taller. I am dipping this in the quick dip as well, and I'm putting that right in the center to give me another tall element. And now I'm adding some Spider Mom. We're sticking with whites and greens in this arrangement. I think white and green is such a fresh, clean, classic look. And I'm just placing these Fuji Mums all around throughout the arrangement. Here comes our next bloom, some beautiful, light, fluffy, fragrant stock. So this is white stock, and I am stripping all the leaves from the bottom, cutting it at an angle, and placing it over to the side of the arrangement. I love working with stock. It smells so beautiful. It's not overpowering like a lot of the lilies are. It's just a really light, beautiful scent. So I love using stock in arrangements, and I've cut it fairly short. You can leave stock long, but in this particular case, I've cut it short, and I've placed them together over to the side. And now we're adding some roses. These are beautiful white, I believe they're Mondial roses, and they are nice and open. They've been sitting in some water for a little bit in my studio, so they've opened up very nicely. Okay, so we've got all of our large blooms in place, and now I need some variety in size. So I've got some white mini carnations, and I am placing them around now, just filling in between the larger blooms. And we're going to leave some long, some are going short and tucked in deep. This one is a bit longer. I'm going to place this one right at the top in the center. And it just gives, you want to make sure you're using different sizes and shapes to complement your arrangement. So I've got the fluffy fat stalk. I've got the long linear lines of the bells of Ireland. I've got the large blooms of the oriental lilies, the large garden roses there, the mondile. So you need something to, you don't want everything all the same size. You want a variety. So the mini carns are a nice contrast. It's all in whites, but just now we're varying the shape here, and it really helps to balance out your arrangement. So keep that in mind as you're designing. You want to have different shapes. You don't want everything flat on the same plane. You want some roses deep or some flowers deep. You want some flowers kind of coming out so that you've got dimension. All of these elements, when used appropriately, come together to make a really well-balanced, pleasant design. All right, so we're finishing up now with the main arrangement, and I just need to elevate this dish up so I can finish designing the cascading part. Since it is an elevated design, it's important to continue your design over the edges, spilling down, cascading down, so that you don't look like you've got a scoop of ice cream on top of your base. And here's the finished product. I've used gunny eucalyptus, long-stemmed mini carns, and some more leather leaf to kind of give that cascade. You can see it, just cascading down over the edge of that large base, the bubble bowl base there. And there we go. Classic elevated design. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next video.